Well,
Hello.
hey there, Dean. How's it going?
Good to
Say hi
talk
to
to you. It's been a.
Butters.
Oh, what's up, Butters?
Butters wants snacks. So we were just starting to talk about why you're not rich. Not you specifically, but just like you in the general sense. Because so many of my videos are about, like how to build wealth and fight the wealth gap. So what do you think, Dean? Why are people not rich?
College student loans. I think that's like the number one trap.
Okay, that's right. You think college is a trap. So you would tell people not to go seek out higher education?
No, I would do it. Just stay away from scammy degrees. And there's just a lot of trade schools that you could consider. So, I mean, if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer and that's your passion, then there's nothing wrong with that. And I mean, should you go to USC and pay 50K or 70K a year? Or can you go to like a community college and then transfer to Cal State, like Cal State Long Beach or so there's just cheaper options that people can take and that should hypothetically put you into less debt. It's just so easy to put yourself, there's another TikToker who's doing his MBA at USC, and it's so
Mm-hmm.
easy for him to get a $300,000 student loan. It's just like boom, and
So always
I
up
think
to trouble says 100%. This is one of our joiners. You should not go until you know your passion or job choice. I totally agree, like with what both of you are saying. But I bet a lot of people on here have already been to college and they already are facing some pretty like hardcore student loans. So what's your suggestion then?
don't believe the Democrats when they say they're going to help you with your student loans, because like Joe Biden ran on that. Oh, like I'm going to help you with your student debt,
Did
and
he? I thought that
obviously
was like I thought that was Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth
no, no, no.
Warren.
But then when Biden was running, he campaigned that he would do some sort of student debt relief. So in
Okay.
order to get Bernie to to like back him and endorse him,
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
deal was like, oh yeah, like I'll consider helping out with student loans. And when they were trying to win that race in Georgia, they were like, oh, vote Democrat. We're gonna give you your $15 minimum wage, and we're gonna and that's the main. I think that's the main problem why it's so difficult for people to build wealth. It's because the left party is supposed to be the Democrats, and they sold out to the oligarchs. Obviously the Republicans are no better, but it's like when you don't
A
have
lot
a
of it is.
choice,
Yeah.
you know, it's
Yeah.
like you can vote for the Republicans and they're going to help the oligarchs, or you can vote for the Democrats and they're going to help the
Well, I
oligarchs.
don't know. I feel like you can go to the Republican side or the Democrat side and like make arguments for, both of
Well, they both help big
from both
corporations,
about like
right?
why, what they're doing to fuck it up for everybody and why we're not rich. I mean, it ultimately isn't the I don't know. Like the real problem, right? The real problem is that all of them, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, like still answer to dark money to whatever extent, right? And that, of course, just fuels inequality because all the dark people who, lobby and give money to
Hmm.
politicians, of course, they're doing that to protect their wealth and make them
Exactly.
wealthier. I mean, this is why we
Exactly.
don't. The, the big corporations donate to both parties. Yeah, exactly. That's totally the point. I mean, so when you think about it, like the wealth gap and like, income inequality, it's essentially like a bipartisan issue. Now we all tend to like make it whatever we want it to be, but I don't think that's the case. Like this is one thing I think we could all get behind. And
I
okay, I got
agree.
one more thing here. A little idea I had. So let's just say like we have all these people running. I'm going to cancel student loan debt, right? Oh, I'm going to free childcare. What if you guys, crazy idea, what if we just changed the work day to match the school day and we took away summer vacations for kids so parents don't have to go into debt trying to figure out childcare for their kids during the summer? um like crazy idea, or like maybe would it save families like tens of thousands of dollars because they're not paying for extra childcare because the school day ends at 3 but you don't get home from work until 6? Like it's so fucking dumb. Like this country is so antiquated. We have summer. You know why kids have summer? Like why we
Why?
have a summer break?
Why?
Because one more than 100 fucking years ago it got way too hot in school classrooms. So the rich kids would go out of town with their families, and the poor kids, they just wouldn't go to school in the summer because it was unbearable and often unsanitary. A lot of times people spin this like narrative about like, oh, fucking, farming. That's why we have it, but that's absolutely not true. Yeah, it's not agriculture crypto. Like I think it's a really common misconception about summer vacation. So again, we're basing our modern day society actions on things shit that we were doing like 100 years ago that just don't hold true today. Women don't necessarily stay at home all the time, and classrooms are air conditioned. Most summer breaks around the world are 1 month. Yes, blue green. So I just monologued for a while. Sorry. What's
No, I
going
mean,
on in your
I'm agreeing with you. I also just think that there's no financial education. The problem is you go to high
oh
school, and they'll teach you I took AP calculus, but that doesn't really help you, for the real world.
yeah.
And I think
Yeah,
these are a
you're
lot of
totally
things
right.
that Meet Kevin talks about in his campaign about, making it possible for people to get like a trade kind of certification at the age of 18 to graduate with no debt and to get like a decent paying job, you know? And just today I
Yeah.
did a bunch of real estate work, and, you know, like the guy that I hired, he just hired a bunch of unlicensed people. Like we really do need a handyman license in California. It's really unfair that this one contractor like literally just goes, like the fact that there isn't a handyman license. So a lot of the contractors I'm hiring, they don't even do the work. They're just hiring people that they're kind of exploiting because they don't have a license and they have to go under the contractor. But a lot of this like easy, just paint my walls and like all this work, it shouldn't require like a painting license. Anyone should be able to get this license and get a job and be able to work for themselves. But we don't have that in California. So either you hire illegals that do it illegally, or a contractor skims it and basically, they charge me $50 and then they pay the worker $15 when the worker could be doing it himself for $25.
That's really disturbing, like more disturbing considering what just happened um, in Florida.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. That's another issue where,
oh,
people cut
my
corners
brother's on
because
here, by the way. Sorry. My brother's on here. Hey, Phil. One of my brothers, I have four brothers, and he's saying, but unions.
they don't exist.
So, yeah,
Amazon got rid of
yeah.
them.
And then someone else, Mr. Good Vibe, is saying, I have five siblings and none of them know how to manage their 401ks. That's the fucking problem. That's the fucking problem, Dean. Like what you were just saying, right? Like, why don't we teach kids in high school, like, about the stock market, about the motherfucking stock market? Like, it drives me crazy. Oh, you know why? Because, like, once again, we're like doing things based on 100-year-old system, like when women couldn't join the stock market. So, let's teach them home ec. I mean,
Yeah.
like, why doesn't change happen more quickly?
Because I think there's a lot of bureaucracy, as much as, and that's the problem is bureaucracy is hard to remove, and I don't feel like in government, like for education, there's no free market. Like instead of allowing six different private schools to compete, it's just like one, like, oh, this is like the education system. When in reality, I feel like if we had more of a free market approach where it's like, oh, like we'll allow private schools and public schools to compete and people like have a choice and they can use like your tax dollar doesn't automatically have to go to this public school. If there was a competition of three public schools you could compete with, and the public schools that are better run get obviously more funding or something like that, maybe that would then create incentives for them to change the curriculum and to offer classes that actually educate people. But the internet should fix a lot of this. I feel like, all of these problems that we're talking
Yes.
about, the internet,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, I do kind of agree with the Republican, like, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. So, like, it's not easy, but with the internet, you have opportunities to fight this inequality, even though it's not easy, but at least you can get information to help yourself fight it.
Really quick though, I have to say, like, that mentality of pull yourself up by your bootstraps is the most fucking prejudiced, discriminatory, like, just clueless, obtuse thing you can say. Like, people saying that are speaking from such a huge place of privilege. They don't fucking know what it's like to like, be going to school and have to work two jobs so you can like pay your rent and like actually eat some ramen noodles. I mean, this is what I did in college. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
it's yeah, and I mean, getting out of school too. Like, I mean, it was crazy. It's just you can't always pull yourself up by your bootstraps. There's so much privilege in that statement. Really, like it drives me crazy. And Just a Noob Trader, by the way, is saying, oh, okay, two really good things in my chat here. First, my brother Phil is saying you got to have the boots to pull the straps, which is a really that's perfect. That's the perfect way to describe why that's such a
And
fucking
and
bullshit statement.
and your boot is the internet because I feel like there's a lot of scams where like give me money and I'll teach you how to do this or do that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of free information out there. So
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, even if the deck is stacked against you, I think your one way to hopefully become financially educated is through the internet. And, this wasn't something you could do, I think, like 30 years ago. I don't know if it would be possible in the 90s to self educate yourself. I guess you would have to go to like a public library or something. I don't know.
I mean, okay, so I taught myself how to invest. Well, I guess I had the internet. No, that's not true. I taught myself how to invest 15 years ago. Nobody had it on their phone. I read a book, you know, and like I used a system that, an online brokerage. It was like one of the first ones ever, and it cost money, to trade. Um, so for sure, it does have to do with your parents to some extent because I think if my grandparents hadn't invested, it never would have occurred to me, right, to even go and learn that.
That's true.
So I mean, it really it does, to some extent, like, the internet is your boots, but like sometimes it doesn't even enter your sphere of knowledge
Or you
or
can't even get
your
internet access. I mean, there's rural areas that you can't even get the
yeah, yeah.
internet. So, but I'm hoping as, technology gets cheaper, with Moore's law, like it used to be that basically you had to spend $1,000 to get a smartphone, but nowadays you can probably get like a decent smartphone for 200, $300. So, and hopefully that becomes even cheaper and the internet becomes even cheaper. So, and then whatever happened, I thought that's one thing they were going to do, right, with the infrastructure deal, but I don't think they were able to pass it. They were
Oh
going to
my
help.
God. I hope that that's in the infrastructure deal,
Yeah, they were
seriously.
supposed to
But I
do
think
rural
I haven't
internet.
I'm thinking though, like, so say you grew up, like say your parents are immigrants, right? And they just don't trust the stock market. And that's how you grow up, right? Like you grow up thinking that it is practical to put your money into a savings account. That's what you have to do. Like, that's I don't know. I feel like at that point, like it wouldn't occur to you like I should go to Robinhood and open an account because that's not a good thing. And like that's why I think like TikTok and YouTube and Reddit, even though people love to hate on it so much, like it's so fucking valuable because it makes it mainstream. And like it should have been mainstream like 30 fucking years ago. Thanks, rich white guys. But Dean, you get a pass because isn't your dad an immigrant?
Yeah, my dad, well, yeah, I mean, he came from Iran. Yeah, so he is an immigrant.
You're from, okay, do you guys call yourself Persian or Iranian?
Yeah, Persian, because Iran, then people are like axis of evil. So the way we get around
Uh-huh.
it is like, well, you know, Persian sounds more friendly than Iran, right? Persian like the cat.
Just a Noob Trader said the immigrant population is among the most successful. Why do
That's
you think
true.
that is? Probably because they
My
come
dad
here
works
and
a
they do
lot
their
harder than me.
fucking ass off. Yeah,
My dad is older
yeah.
than me and he works a lot harder than me. He's still doing surgery and seeing patients, so I could never work as hard as my dad.
I don't know. I feel like I work really hard. Oh my God, it's Kenneth. Hey, do you know Trade, Invest, Simplify? Kenneth?
No. Oh, maybe. If
Oh
he
my
comes to
God,
my
you need to
Okay, yeah,
follow
tell him to
him.
come
And
in my live
Phil,
stream and I'll follow him.
yeah, all of y'all need to all follow each other and follow my
Say
brother,
say what's
Bucky
up to
Luger.
me in my live stream and I'll give you a follow.
And Justin Noob too. He's awesome. You guys might already follow each other though, and Blue Green. And my brother Bucky Luger, who like makes sick ass beats. He's really fucking good. He's a good sound engineer and DJ. He's awesome. Or sorry, Phil.
Nice.
Do you prefer MC? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the
Yeah.
terminology is.
Yeah.
And he also owns his own businesses. He's like a licensed Apple technician. So he has a few stores in the Midwest. Yeah, like that's you. This you're always pushing like own your own business, like for the real monies.
Agree. Yeah. So I just followed Trade, Invest, Simplify. So thank you for that. And yeah, maybe we could
Oh
do
my
a.
God, he is amazing. He's a day trader and he has like the best advice. He's so good.
Okay.
Um, okay, so interesting things here in this chat. So, always up to trouble says Indian and Asians have strict upbringings, especially surrounding education and money. Yep.
I think that's true. But I still think growing affluent, like for me, because I lived in Indiana and I lived in Newport Beach, and just being like growing up around rich people, there's just something about financial education that's like way more transparent. Where like in Indiana, people were just talking about their like, corn and tractors and cars and trucks. Where like in Newport Beach, everyone's talking about, oh, like, my dad invested in this property. Oh, my dad started this company. Oh, my dad bought this stock. So there's definitely, what is it? You're the average of the five people you hang around the most.
So this is interesting. This is like the most interesting chat ever. So Know My Drone, who is she's a professor at UGA. Go dogs, woohoo! She said I had to break free of my Native American upbringing thought process to succeed. That is fascinating. I would love to hear more about that. Um, really, like that's really interesting to me. I feel like I had to break free of my religious right upbringing to succeed, but I'm not sure that really has to do with succeeding. It just had to do with like mentality.
Can I ask?
Again, I really do. I do think that like this issue of the wealth gap is like bipartisan. Sorry, didn't mean to
So I
cut you
wanted to
off.
ask you about your company because remember we talked a little bit, and I don't know if I can get an update about your business because what I feel like what you're trying to do can really help people. If you want to go ahead and elaborate about the
Oh my
business you're
God.
thinking of starting.
Yes. I'm so glad you asked. So Just Capital, the whole idea, you guys, is that investment advice, like legit investment advice, should be just available on demand to anyone who needs it. Like, okay, think about this, you guys. Like on Wall Street, the rich guys, like information, right? Like good, solid stock market analysis is currency. It is worth money. If you have the information first, that you have the fucking money, the trades, and you can go and get all the awesome returns. We hear shit secondhand, and we have to deal with shit like Robinhood and payment for order flow, where you're getting the worst deal in the market. So I want to have something, a model that's completely on demand for like the average investor. So that way, if you as a new investor are like totally lost on TikTok or YouTube, you can just go and like go to Instant Advisor and like boom, just talk to somebody and it won't cost you a fucking fortune. It shouldn't cost you a fortune. Like it should be like telehealth, but for investing.
Yeah, I like that concept. So hopefully we get both. I mean, because even telehealth right now, I don't think a lot of people are comfortable using it, but I did use telehealth recently, and it's amazing, and it hopefully will make healthcare more affordable. So, I mean, the same idea of having this with your financial advice or education, I think is huge. And it requires a
Um,
license, right? You're gonna need like
Yeah, it does
licenses.
require a license. And so I think that's one thing to like get around, right? Like, it's not an easy license to obtain, an investment advisor license. It's just not. Like, you have to be ready to like just devote at least like, 3 months to a half a year of your life of studying. Um, and then you have to pass a very difficult exam. It's totally passable. I passed it, but like, it's still not easy. It was very hard. And, I want to I want to think that there's like some way that because Robinhood figured this out, you guys. Robinhood figured out how to make trading free. I want to figure out that there's some way to have people be able to access an advisor. Even does it have to be a series license? Could it be something? I don't know. Like this is where I need like a set of like really strong, innovative minds to collaborate with me, and come up with like how we can, certify people without necessarily having these ridiculous levels of certification. I mean, people are all getting advice all the time. Like Wang Zhang is saying people are selling signals. I mean, like buy and sell signals. Um, So like they're making money off it. They're doing it already. Can't we just make it legit?
But we also have that one guy, I can't remember, but the guy who shorted the market during the coronavirus pandemic, and then he goes on CNBC and he's like, "Oh, it's the end of the world." Like he purposely bought shorts and then went on CNBC and spooks the market, and he doesn't get penalized for that. So, I mean, anyone can give their opinion, I guess, on CNBC and not have a license. And a lot of these people that are giving their opinion, they're trying to move the market. Like they're intentionally, short, and then they come on CNBC and try to panic sell, and they allow that. It's not so it's crazy. Bill Ackman, there you go. Thank you very much, Bill Ackman, guys. Thank you.
Oh, have you seen Betting on Zero? That's a really interesting documentary.
Is it on Netflix?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Bill Ackman placed $1 billion bet that Herbalife would go to zero. It's interesting because what he did, oh my God, it just kills me that that bet didn't work for him. Right? He hedged against Herbalife. Someone help me. Herbalife. He hedged against it, betting that it would go to zero because it's a fucking pyramid scheme. And it has that shitty ass company has fucked over so many immigrants, like particularly in, the Hispanic populations. And like fuck them. They have preyed on so many immigrants and like just unsuspecting people who didn't have enough money to, join the Herbalife pyramid, and he knew that and he used his money, to try to take that company down. And so I fucking wish it would have worked. I really do, because that's exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about fucking, I'm sorry, I'm like just dropping f-bombs left and right tonight. It must be my scotch. But like again, like those fucking pyramid scheme companies, Herbalife and Curtis Ray's MPI thing, that's an MLM. There's so many of them, and they prey on people who are just desperate for money, who don't understand how an MLM works, and the fact that if you're at the bottom, you're fucked. And it's so another reason why financial education is so fucking important in high school.
Well, that's why SafeMoon is
Like
popular. That's why SafeMoon is going to the moon. It's a good MLM.
SafeMoon is not an MLM.
It is.
Stop.
It's a crypto MLM. It's SafeMoon. Every time you supposedly sell 10%
I
of your
swear I read their
proceeds.
white paper.
No, no,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
but
Are you
it is an MLM because if you sell, 10% of your proceed goes to the entire pyramid.
Oh my God. Oh, okay, wait. Mole Media wants to know your thoughts on Timothy Sykes. Oh, shoot me in the head, Timothy Sykes. You know who that is, right?
No, actually, who's Timothy
He's this
Sykes?
fucking douchebag from like circa 2005. I don't remember when he got big, Mole Media. But he made a bunch of money from his bar mitzvah money, like, and he took that like 25,000 and turned it into like, whatever everyone dreams about, like 300,000. And then he started selling like bullshit courses. I don't know if they're bullshit, actually. I shouldn't say that. But like, what drives me crazy is like, oh, you took your $25,000 from your bar mitzvah. Like, fuck you. Like, I wish somebody gave me $25,000 when I was fucking 13. You know what I was doing when I was 13? I was babysitting my siblings and the neighborhood kids because like I had five younger siblings. I was essentially on my own financially at age 13. So like fuck that guy. Of course he's rich, and of course now he sells his trading courses. Like yeah, he's a penny stock mogul. But again, like it just grosses me out. Like, you know, like yeah, he's born on third base. Thank you, Blue Green. You perfectly identified like what it fucking is. The 16-year-old's driving Lambos. Yes, know my drone. Yes, you all should follow each other because you're very insightful. Very smart people. What's happening in your chat?
So for me, I actually want to talk about the tech boom. I'm right now like my Robinhood is just going beast mode, but it's not like unfortunate, but like I'm pretty tech heavy, and so I bought that tech dip. I bought ARK, I bought all these funds, and so in the last month, I was like showing earlier in my live stream, I'm up 10% for the month on my portfolio, and it's pretty
That's
crazy because
amazing.
yeah.
Because your portfolio is like really crypto heavy, no?
No, no, no. It's about, and I showed it. I made a TikTok video. So I'm about 10% crypto and about 90% stocks. Now I have a bunch of other platforms I stake because it's my Robinhood that I'm talking about. So on the other platforms that I stake, then yeah, I have more. But overall, I want to say I definitely own a lot more stocks than crypto. But I've invested a lot less in crypto and I've gotten a better ROI. But just recently, obviously, crypto hasn't done as well, and
Yeah.
the stock market went on a tear. So basically, I can show you the graph, but here I'll even show you really quick. Let me see if I can pull
I
it up.
mean, I think tech is on a nice tear lately. It's, thank God, like, because I'm really tech heavy, like, in a lot of my accounts. Oh my God, Dean, every time I see a Robinhood, I'm like, I want my Robinhood to be
But it's crazy
$235,000.
that what people need to realize is that this is how you can build wealth. Because like the problem is a lot of people.
Margin.
Well, it's not only just margin, but it's also just staying consistent and staying away from like the crappy stocks. A lot of the
Yeah,
stocks I talked
no,
about on
you're
my
so right
live
about
stream,
that.
for
Yeah.
example, let me see some of my biggest movers were Virgin Galactic. Obviously, that was more like just lucky, but I did buy the Virgin Galactic dip. Square has done really well. Tesla recovered. I bought obviously Tesla. All the ARK funds have done really really
Were you
well.
buying Nvidia?
I bought Nvidia when it was like in the 500 range. Yeah. So I did buy a lot of Nvidia when it was in the
Oh, nice.
500s. Yeah. So
That's
I
really
bought
awesome.
Nvidia
So, oh, sorry.
chip
Someone said
makers.
go long on Spy. Um, Phil was asking what a good run is this week. Jeffries is doing really well, but I don't know if it peaked. The banks are on a tear because they passed their stress test and they all raised their dividends. Now, Callie, who's on my live right now, she has some horror stories about margin trading. So again, listen to what Dean is saying. If you're using margin, you only buy high quality stocks.
Here we
You
go. I
do
got a
not.
list for you guys. I'm
Yeah,
doing
there you
margin
go.
on Facebook. Margin on Facebook has been really good. Amazon's been really good. Apple's been really good. Snapchat, Nvidia, Virgin Galactic. Virgin Galactic is a little risky. I don't want to, that's just because I'm a
Yeah.
space nerd. If you guys want to get into that, that's probably my riskiest stock that I own is Virgin Galactic. And then I got Google down there too. But as you can see, they've all been very, very, very good to me. And remember, I've been taking levered positions on all of these companies. So, even though I'm getting 120%, I'm actually getting more than 120% on Facebook because it was with leverage. So,
So when do you sell when you are investing with margin? Like what's your strategy for that?
so right now, actually, believe it or not, like I sold 3 Tesla shares because I'm actually right now in the process of paying down my margin debt. Whenever I have a month where I'm up, $20,000 and I'm up 10%, this is not a time. I'm not buying it now, right? Because we're having such a
Yeah.
good a month.
Right.
So all I'm doing is I'm just setting like incremental sells. So like, if Tesla now hits $777, that's my next point. I'll sell maybe another one or two shares of Tesla. And what I'm doing is
So
I'm
that's what
slowly,
you're doing to sort of cover your margin debt?
yeah, yeah, just to make my margin debt go down. Because remember, I was using margin in March and I was using it in May. Remember how we had 2 dips, one in March and one in May?
Yeah.
And remember, I was on
Yeah.
TikTok, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. So that's when I was going heavy into margin. Now, when I have a month where I'm up 10% and the stock market is it's doing really really well, I'm not buying anymore. And what I'm doing is I'm slowly selling. Usually, I'm not selling my winners like Tesla, even though I took a little bit off of Tesla. I'm usually selling things that I'm red on, and most of the things that I was red on are my biotech stocks. But I do sell a little bit of my tech as well because I don't want to be like super duper tech heavy. But I went from just on my Robinhood, I had $60,000 of margin debt, and recently, since I did do some sales, I'm down to
Uh-huh.
20,000. So I sold about $40,000 of just stocks I wanted to get rid of and to just reduce my margin position. But on that portfolio you saw at one point, I had racked up about $60,000 of margin debt.
Okay, that's really interesting because I think like it's really easy to start buying with it, but it can be really tricky to know when you should sell and like kind of start
Yeah, when it's
paying
super
down the margin
green,
debt.
when your Robinhood is up like 10 or 20% for the month. Whenever you get like a 10 or 20% month, you should consider selling a little bit.
So Robinhood 357 is one of my friends. Robinhood, I don't know I think your name's Robin, isn't it? There's some really good questions in here. So he said I don't use margin. I think you should consider using margin if you have the collateral to cover your debt. And again, if you're buying stable stocks. Eric Crane wants to know if I can suggest a book to better understand margin in stocks. My favorite book I always recommend to people is How to Make Money in the Stock Market by William O'Neill, who is a growth investor. So he will essentially, his book teaches you how to just, um, target, like read charts to track a growth cycle in a stock because stocks have growth cycles, right? Like they go up and they go down. And sometimes they show chart patterns that will indicate when that's going to happen. But really, you don't need a book. Like I would just go to Tasty Trade and like Thinkorswim and Fidelity because all of these companies and Webull, actually Webull is awesome because they all have very solid education on what margin means and what options are and what just basic trading is.
So actually, I took a 40, so I did go on my interactive brokers and I took a $40,000 margin loan and I bought stable coins. And I might actually do that now that I sold a bunch of my stocks on Robinhood. I have no margin on my Robinhood. If this market continues on a tear, I might still pull out another 10 or $20,000 of just cash and just do the stable coins because now it's not just Voyager. Remember how I told you Voyager was paying you 9% on the dollar?
Yeah, yeah,
Blockify
yeah.
now. BlockFi is going to give you now 9% as well. And so I have no interest right now buying equities because we're like it's right now going to the moon. So maybe I buy more
Yeah, we
stable
are.
coins and then I can use those stable coins to buy whether there's a crypto dip or a stock dip. But
This
that's
that is really that's interesting. The stable coins. Wait, we have
have
a
you
bunch
done
of
it
questions to
yet?
catch up.
Have you done it or
No, I
no?
haven't.
You got to
Dude,
use it. Try
I
it out. No,
I totally agree. No, you're so right. I
hundred
literally have
dollars.
a
I'll
giant
keep
list of
texting you.
names, and I had to spend the whole fucking weekend doing a writing test for Goldman Sachs because apparently, like, my portfolio isn't good enough, like, or isn't demonstrative enough of my writing and analytic skills. So, I mean, literally, it took a weekend. It took a weekend to do that writing test. So I better get the job.
So
But
you might work for
anyway,
Goldman Sachs.
yeah, yeah, I'm in like the final rounds.
Oh,
I
you
swear to
might be a
God.
sellout. You're a sellout working for Goldman Sachs.
I know, and it's like working in their private wealth management, like with like the ultra high net worth people.
That's
I
gonna
mean,
be
no,
awesome though if you get the job
yeah,
because then you got the name.
you have to understand though, like what type of access that would give me to a lot of people who have extra money to throw around who might, look at something that someone like me is doing and say, hey, there's a lot of value in this, like I want to give her $1 million to go develop, instant advisor. So, I think it definitely is a step, it could be a good step in the right direction if I don't get, some venture capitalist to fund me. But anyway, we had a ton of margin questions, and you can help answer some of these, I think. So somebody asked, I think these are really good questions. Someone asked if you would use margin to do a down payment on a house.
Yes. Yeah, that's actually a good way to use margin if you're using it. But I don't know if
Agree?
I'd buy in this market. I think
No.
that home prices would come down in the next 2 years with all the eviction moratoriums expiring. But let's just say, are you going to save 100 grand of cash before? Like, let's just say you're trying to put down 100 grand as a down payment. So does that mean you save your $50,000 in cash? No, I think you should instead buy $50,000 worth of stocks, and then whenever you're ready to buy your house or whatever, you can use maybe some of your stocks, and then maybe you don't have to sell all
Mhm.
of your stocks. You take a margin loan instead.
Dividend stocks. Like that will help you capitalize or amplify your margin gains because you will reinvest the dividends and you will, build on your compound interest. Um, so if you're using margin on options, are you basically making a bet on another bet? Nas, not quite, because margin is not a derivative or nor is it a bet. It's a loan. The thing is, though, options, options trading can, of course, amplify your gains and your losses also. I mean, you can lose a lot of money very quickly with options, not necessarily the same way you would with stocks, because when an option is done, if you didn't exercise it or you weren't on the sell side, like you don't have anything left, like if it expires worthless, you don't own the stock, it's just gone. Like you just lost that money. You put it on the casino table and now that you rolled a seven and you crapped out. So like and at that point, like that's when you're going to be in debt if you use margin to do that.
And I still think
So hopefully that makes.
margin's also a good way to defer your taxes. So let's just say I made $10,000 on Facebook, right? And if I wanted to sell, I would have to pay $10,000 of capital gains tax, or instead I can just get a margin loan and use that, and then the interest I pay on my margin loan is tax deductible. So once again, if you're in the lower income tax brackets, margin may not be as attractive to you because you may not have to pay a lot in capital gains tax. But if you do get to a position where you're making over six figures and you live in California, then taking a margin loan instead of selling might be a great way to avoid taxes.
So somebody is um my brother's like, whoa, that's a wizard move. Um
That's
okay,
what
so
someone
really
here
quick,
in my
there's
chat said too. So
um you might have to repeat it for the people who just joined. Somebody asked, why wouldn't you buy a house now? Like the interest rates are really low. When do you think that the housing market will hit its peak? Like you own how
they
many
said
houses do
Austin.
you
So they said Austin's starting to cool down. So Austin's market, if you guys want to go look at it on Zillow, it could be the canary in the coal mine. But they said that the
own?
prices have
Whoa.
stopped going up in Austin. If that trend continues and prices actually come down in Austin, Texas, that could be a sign that we're finally getting some sort of cool down in the real estate market. But I mean, I just saw a couple YouTube videos of them talking about it, so you can do your own research. But if this is true, where the prices in Austin, Texas, start to cool down, that means there's a good possibility other markets the prices will also cool down. Because
Oh,
remember,
that's so
lumber
interesting. So
prices
here's,
crashed.
what I think? It will cool the housing market, or at least the condo market, the real estate market, is going to cool down in Florida, in Miami particularly, for sure. So like you might see that in Austin, fine. You're going to see it in Florida, like 100% after what happened, last week. My brother, who lives in Madison, Wisconsin, is saying he's already seen the housing market cool down in Wisconsin. Now, obviously, in California, it's not even close, but were literally, you guys, we are in for a shit fucking second half of the year with wildfires and drought because our drought is out of control.
And we have the
Um,
dumbest governor in the world. Gavin Newsom is an idiot, and he's using he's a dirty politician. I'm not going to go on a rant, but he's just doing a bunch of things right now. He got recalled, but he's doing a bunch of things to make it like really hard for the competition.
Someone asked what is causing the giant bubble in margin debt.
People like me
All the
creating
retail
TikToks. It's me on my TikTok. Go get a margin
I know.
account, guys. It's going to the
I know.
moon. It's people following me. That's what's making the bubble in margin debt.
Okay, I need you to restate your wizard move once more because I need to just like clock it because like we need to do like a video about this.
Okay, so one more time, just to repeat. So
Yeah, yeah.
margin
One
is
more
a good
time.
way to defer capital gains taxes. Let's just say, you want to buy a house, right? The old school way would be like, hey, I have, let's just say $100,000 of Facebook stock. Let me sell it. Now, let's just say your Facebook stock doubled, and so you have $50,000 of capital gain. I mean, it would be 20% of that, right? That you would have to pay. Well, instead of doing that, you can just go get a margin loan on your Facebook stock, and now you don't pay any taxes. And that interest that you pay, that $50,000, whatever the interest rate is, that's tax deductible. And remember, if your Facebook stock now becomes worth, let's just say your $100,000 Facebook stock becomes worth in the next 5 years $200,000, and let's just say your margin debt is 1%, right? That means you'll have only $55,000 of debt, but your stocks will actually be worth 200,000 instead of 100,000. So inflation, what's so funny?
No, I'm just like, yes, I think it's great. And then we do have an interesting question from Stock Market Pro for sure. We'll get to that in a second. I'm honestly, I'm just smiling because I do think it's great. Like, it's a good idea. I wish I would have thought of it.
Yeah, I mean,
I hear you.
basically most of the stocks I sold, I mean, I sold a little bit of Tesla, but most of the stocks I'm selling are my stocks that are red because it's a tax deduction. These green stocks, I only sell usually like 5%, 3%. But if I have any red stocks that I'm holding, that's what I like to sell. And that's the cool thing about margin is that you can pay off your margin debt with your losers, so you get a tax deduction. And then
So
your winners, you
you're
don't.
trying to have capital losses each year.
Yeah, yeah,
Is that your
because
goal? Yeah.
remember I get over 6 figures of rental income, and I'm
Mhm.
lucky that I have a lot of real estate write-offs. But my lat and then this year I'm gonna have not as much rental. But anyways, so my whole goal is always like I want to lower my taxes, so I'm doing whatever I can to legally pay less taxes.
So Naz is saying, and this is interesting, he's wondering, like, okay, all of this margin debt out there, it's a bubble, it's a problem. Um, The thing is, though, like, it's not, at least in the retail investor population, it's not causing issues in the retail investor population. The real bubble is hedge funds and like ultra high net worth individuals who use margin to fund extremely extravagant lifestyles. If you don't know Archegos, like, that whole thing that happened with Viacom earlier this year, like, go and look that up because that is a perfect example of a company, an investment company that was just leveraged, like, out the ass, just billions of dollars. They were leveraged so much that it affected the price of Viacom, who then said the stock price of Viacom, who then said, we're gonna sell shares, and that, of course, like, tanked the shares. And then that investment company gets a fucking margin call and they can't pay it because it's billions of dollars. So, like, I think, keep it in perspective, Nas. Like, it's like retail investors are nothing compared to. I look like the cat lady right now.
The Goldman Sachs
um,
cat lady. You got to change your name if you get the job. The Goldman Sachs cat lady.
oh my god, that's so funny. Oh, okay, good. Nas said I'll never forget Archegos. So, I mean, how over leveraged some of these investment companies are. Like, and hedge funds. Like, that's the real thing that we need to look at when we're worried about, a margin bubble or a borrowing bubble. Really quick, Dean, this is interesting. Um, Stock Market Pro wants to know why you hate Stock Market Daddy.
I don't have
Do you know who that
anything
is?
against him. No, 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 no. Well, first off, he's not like a stock market professional. Like I looked up his background. He
Annoying.
No, I mean he cleans gutters. You can look up his like business. He's got like a cleaning house gutter business. That's like his background. That's what he's professional at. So, and then if you go look on his Google, like he doesn't have good reviews. So that's all. But I'm not going to say anything negative about him. And I don't really want to talk about him anymore. I just know that his profession is cleaning gutters. He's like a professional gutter cleaner. And
Has he, like, misled people that he's a stock market professional?
I don't know because people talk about him. I just move on. Like I just know that
Oh,
his business is cleaning rain gutters or something like that, and maybe he likes to trade stocks as well. But I make it clear that I'm a real estate broker. I love stocks. I
mhm.
like to trade stocks, but I'm a real estate broker, and that's my profession.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Like, passed my securities exam, but I'm still going through the licensing process. Butters, oh my God, like, he's like headbutting the camera and it's knocking over everything. Sorry. Um, so, like, if you go and look me up on FINRA, you won't find me because I haven't filled out all of the paperwork yet. And at this point now, I'm hoping if I get hired by Goldman, they will sponsor my 65 because it's, you
Nice.
know, passing the exam is one thing. You have to then, open a firm and represent your own firm, and it's not an easy endeavor, and it's very expensive. It's thousands of dollars to do this. So I think that's definitely one thing to consider. But people who are, like, representing themselves as, some type of expert, like, I mean, that really pisses me off. Like, You can't do that.
I don't know. He necessarily does that. I mean, he's super knowledgeable. My main thing is I don't want to talk about him anymore. I mean, if you think
Okay.
he gives good stock advice, then follow him. And I don't. And to be honest,
I don't know who he is.
I've had intellectual conversations with him. I can vouch that he actually knows his stuff. It's just I wish he would be more transparent because if you go look at his business, I guess, the main thing I had an issue with, the people were saying that they were paying him and he wouldn't do the work. And that's not cool because I've actually had that. I've hired painters to do the work and then they just
Yeah.
skip town and they don't do the work. So hopefully he corrects that on his Google. But I don't want to talk about him anymore.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. I think I only knew him because he was like giving you some shit. Um, so somebody, of course, is asking about someone's asking about a crash. This inevitably, and Mole Media, it's a good question because it inevitably comes up in every live, right? Like, because honestly, like the short sellers are like circling the fucking water like sharks right now. Like, short selling activity is way up. And if you look at something called the SKU Watch, the Chicago Board of Options Exchange SKU Watch, it is very high right now for people who are betting on downside protection. Okay. So just to restate that, really clearly, guys, like short selling action is up, and there are a lot of people hedging against the market. They're worried about a big move down. Why? Because we are, once again just hitting higher highs, like as every month goes by. And so you have, the bears who are like, fuck, we can't sustain this.
Well,
But then you have,
those bears should invest in stable coins because I'm somewhat bearish, but I'm not going to sit in cash and get zero. So if you're going to be a bear, learn how to use stable coins to collect 9% while you sit out this market and wait for the crash.
I mean, they're the Wall Street analysts, right? Like, and the strategists who are out there saying this, and they've been saying this since January and since even last year. So, like, really, though, if you look at the real activity, like, a lot of the retail market is fueling this. And like Goldman just raised their estimate for like what the average household would spend on stocks from 350 billion to 400 billion for 2021. I mean, like, I think that we'll definitely see a little bit of a slowdown because that always happens this time of year, right? Like second half of the year, right around 4th of July, bullshit, everyone's traveling, like the market kind of like just just pulls back a little and just chills out, like goes sits in the air conditioning. But like I think that since we had such a strong start to this year, like we will continue to see higher growth at the end of this year. So no, I don't think a crash is coming soon. And I honestly, like, at this point, like I think the only thing that possibly could crash the market is like the housing market, right? Like housing prices just getting higher and higher and higher until nobody can afford to buy a house anymore.
Well, I say if there's a crash, what do they do when there's a crash? They just pump more money and they bail everyone out and the prices go up even higher. And the people that buy the dip get even richer, right? That's what happens every crash. They'll just print money. And if you buy the dip, you get richer.
It's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. God. Um, Mr. Good Vibe wants to know: Will we see this growth as we stop dumping a billion in the month? I can't tell your question. I think you have some typos. Sorry. Once inventory comes to housing, prices will come down. Yeah, I agree, John Dudd. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. But here's the thing. I think that we have a lot of like very rich people right now who are buying third and fourth and fifth houses and Airbnb empires. And I think that's fucking over everybody who would want to buy a house at a normal price. Like these people who are so rich can go in and like they can just outbid anybody, and then they can take that house and put it on Airbnb or like rent it out for a second house or a third house. I mean, it's fucked. Yeah, you're giving a thumbs up. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
but then
no,
you
no,
look
no,
at
no. So I not only I agree, but I'm telling people some people in my chat they have these questions that they want to ask, and I'm like, go. They were asking, should I go in your chat? I'm like, go in her chat and ask her that
oh
question.
my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to like shut down your
No,
chat.
no, no, no,
I'm sorry.
no,
People
no,
had
no,
such
no.
good questions here.
I think we got a good flow going. So like when people want their answers, like answered right away. It's like, hey, just go in her chat and drop the question. Because I might forget. So just ask it again, but ask her. That's the cool thing about having this double live. You can also follow her and ask her questions.
I'm thinking, and you can also email instantadvisor at
I
Gmail.
actually appreciate that. I see that on your
Yeah.
profile, so you guys should consider that. That's really cool of you to drop your email in your profile, and you're willing to answer questions like that. So
Oh yeah, totally. And I send all my free, like I have free training decks, like it's all free. Just ask me for it and I'll send it to you. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, my phone's gonna die really soon. Number one. But number two, we should just set up a Zoom so like people could join and like actually, like ask their questions in person and stuff.
okay, yeah, I'm down for that. Whatever we can do to help people, and we'll have Annie join. Annie's up $10,000 in the stock market, right, Annie?
Fuck yeah,
Annie's up
Annie, that's
big.
awesome.
Yeah,
Hey. Hey,
yeah.
say
So
hi to
Annie,
Butters.
yeah,
Annie,
say
say hi to
hi.
Butters.
Hey, say hi to the cat.
Hello.
Hi, Annie. Hi, Annie.
But
Butters is really mad at me because I need to feed him.
we
And
need we need
Calvin.
more female TikTokers that do finance, and I'm gonna help Annie. Annie's gonna get into it because she's done well. She's been, she started like an account with $38,000, I believe, right? 38,000,
Yeah.
and she's
That's
already made 10
amazing.
grand. She actually has done better investing than me. I was on my earlier live stream telling, my entire audience, I'm like, I should have just given my money to Annie. Annie would have gotten me a better, rate of return than myself.
Um, I don't see negative interest rates, by the way, Thakur. No, I don't think that's gonna happen.
I
Um,
hear you.
okay, I'm gonna go because my phone's gonna die, but also the cats are like
I can
losing
hear
their minds.
everything.
Like Butters is just like he's literally just here headbutting the
She's
camera.
eating.
Like it's so annoying. So you guys, it was so fun. Like this was a really good chat.
Yeah.
Um, and Jonathan said, by the way, says 10 grand. That's awesome, Annie.
Yeah,
Five
Annie
blue.
Annie's an investment expert. So we're gonna get Annie on TikTok and we'll get her on a live stream. And once again, we need more females in finance. So hopefully
Yes.
Annie and Amber will, you guys can maybe do
We're
some
the A
content
team,
together.
Annie.
Yeah.
Annie, we can be the A team.
Yep, yeah,
All
Annie's
right, you
down.
guys. Have,
See you
have a
later.
good night. Ciao.
Good night. Good talking to you. All right, Annie, you hear that? We're gonna start a financial TikTok, and it'll be Annie's stock picks. Get all those funds ready for the upcoming foreclosure. Annie, hear that? Real estate prices are going to come down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
Are you going to buy the dip?
Maybe.
Yeah. Just so you guys know, Annie became a millionaire by buying real estate in China, right?
No.
Yeah. How did
I'm
you?
I'm very poor.
No, Annie owns millions of dollars of real estate in
This is my
China.
boss actually. I
Huh?
be with Sina because he's rich.
I will be the first subscriber for Annie. No, Annie is like a real estate tycoon in China. You should have a
No, it's
TikTok.
because I'm poor, so that's why I be with Sina.
No,
Because Sina is rich.
Annie's my landlord, guys. Everyone knows this building we're in right now. It's owned by Annie.
You hurt me.
Oh. Yeah, Annie's my sugar mama, right?
No, you are my
Yeah,
sugar
yeah.
sugar daddy.
And Annie's my sugar mama.
You are my sugar daddy.
Yeah.
You know why I be with you?
Why?
Because you're rich.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Isn't that what all
I wanna
Chinese
take
girls
over
do?
your money.
Isn't that what all?
I don't know.
That's what I thought. Chinese girls are gold diggers, right?
Did I take your money?
No. No.
So
Nope. So Annie, you gotta tell us about your stock trades.
about what?
Yeah, Goldman Sachs. Do you think you get a job at Goldman Sachs? Because
What's
you did
that?
better. Just so you guys know, you guys are made for each other. Bless you guys. I want to take over your money. I should have given Annie all of my investments because Annie has done a better job of investing in the stock
No,
market
I
than
only
me.
made it like 20%.
Yeah, I made 10% in the last month. Annie made double. Annie made 20%.
Yeah, because I sold some of my stock. You didn't sell.
What was your
So I only
question?
take the profit.
Hey, Noob Trader, you want to do a double live with me? I believe you have 1,000 followers. So
No.
if you want to just do a double live and ask me the question via TikTok Live, what stocks did you buy, Annie?
Where's my phone?
What stock should I buy?
Buy the dip.
No, but why not leverage through selling deep puts and pay no interest? I don't know. I just like not doing the what's it called? The deep puts or whatever. Cause actually, yeah, here, just go ahead and do a double live with me. So we're friends. So just go live and invite me, and we can talk about the deep puts. All right, and I got another accept, but if this person's like, what's up?
Oh shoot, yo, what's up, bro? What's up?
What's
How are
going
you?
on?
What
Doing
is it?
well.
What's this?
This is Annie.
Hello.
Hello,
Her
Annie.
name is her name is the dictator. We call her the dictator. If you date a
Oh, why
Chinese
is that?
girl, they're the dictator. Okay, you
Stop
got.
saying that.
Okay, never mind. Never mind. You got any questions for
Nice.
me and Annie? Oh, you went out.
Oh, my phone glitched. Okay, there we go. There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. What's up?
Okay. So let's think of a question. Um,
Here, let me actually,
Wait,
if
are
you
you
don't
trying?
mind, can I follow you? I'm supposed to do a double live with someone else, just a noob trader,
Okay.
and you just sent me the invite. So here, I'm gonna go ahead and follow you, and then I'll hit you up when I finish my double live with my other buddy. Cool.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
gotta follow me though, if I
Just
or I won't
invite
be
me.
able to invite you. Yeah, but I'll send you an invite when I finish this double live with this other person I'm supposed to do. All right, cool, man. Nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Hey, are you concerned about the S&P at 500 ratio? Yeah, I actually am. Hey, sorry, where is it? Just a noob trader. Do you wanna come on?
$100.
What should he do? Why are you wearing shades? Answer my question. The stock dictator. I like that nickname. The stock dictator. Hey, just a noob trader. Are you going live? Sorry. I shouldn't have accepted that, but I just wanted to tell the guy that I wanted to talk to you. Oh, you know what? I followed you. Hop Investing. If you want to do a double live with me, I just followed you as well. So you are now my friend. If you want to go live and you want to do a double live. Hey, Annie, do you think you can work at Goldman Sachs?
Soup dictator.
The soup dictator.
Why?
Because you're good at investing stocks. You should put on your
But why
resume.
soup dictator?
Why not?
What's that supposed to mean?
Ask Michael. Michael, what does soup dictator mean? Annie, do you want to work at Goldman Sachs? Is that Yoko Ono? How do I invite you? You just go live, man. You've never gone live, noob trader? You leave the live stream and go live, and then I can shoot you an invite. But there's like an infinity sign at the bottom, and that's how you would invite it. The lady was on would wrecked in 1 hour. Yeah. But yeah, you basically just go live, and then there's an infinity sign at the bottom, and you can invite me, and we can do a double live. It's when you post Canva. Annie makes good soups for Cena. I agree.
No, I make good food for Sina.
Yeah.
Not just a soup.
Yep, she makes
Oh,
everything.
talk about soup, but the soup is ready, I think.
Oh, you have soup for me?
Yeah, the chicken soup.
Oh, here we go. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing, man? Thank you for coming on my live stream.
Yeah, appreciate it. So, for what I like, do you have feedback?
A little bit, but I thought you were using your headphones, so there shouldn't be feedback.
I just
Uh-oh.
it hadn't synced yet.
You only wear one?
Yeah.
So, what I like to do in place of using margin, if I want to get long a stock, you get the same you actually get more capital relief and more leverage just selling a deep in the money put, especially if you're willing to
But you have
go
to
long
realize
100
that.
shares.
Yeah, and I understand that, but then you have to realize it, and you eventually have to pay taxes, right, on that option contract once you execute it, correct? Where
If
I can go
if
long
you're not going to
forever.
hold it long term, I
Yeah.
mean, you can do a leap though,
How do you do
but that's
that? That's
still, even
interesting.
leap options are still considered short term gains.
Oh, they are, you see. So that's why I don't do the leverage. What is it? The option trading, because a lot of options you're not going to want to hold it for more than a year, and then you get hit with the short-term gains. But I can do a long-term I can just go long indefinitely with just doing margin. And what I understand is I can't get a margin loan. Like I can't pull cash out. Like let's just say I'm holding options. There, no one's going to give me a loan on my options contracts, right? Even if I have like realized gains. But if I have stocks that that I'm going, that I'm taking margin on, I can still pull more cash out. Like let's just say my stocks go up 10%. I can actually pull more cash out where with the option I can't, correct?
Correct. However, the capital relief that you achieve through the options is so much more efficient that you could
I
just
see.
use the
What's the
cash.
So what is like the what more leverage? Because like obviously usually with margin it's usually like 0.75. What is it? 75%
Yeah,
leverage,
it just kind of
50%.
depends on your portfolio. Like it depends on your broker, it depends on your portfolio, um, and what type of margin you're using, whether it's portfolio margin where it's based on your overall portfolio risk, or if it's just a standard margin, which is typically like 50%.
Yeah.
So
So
like a position in Apple, I have long I have a long position in Apple through Leap deep in the money puts.
can you
Two
explain that? What
contracts,
what's
which is
what's a leap? Because like once again you're talking about pretty complex financial
a
instruments.
leap is just a it's just a longer dated option.
More than 1 year, or what's like the time period?
Any there's I believe it's anything over 6 months or something like that is considered a leap. I consider
Okay.
anything six
Okay.
months or longer out a leap,
Okay.
but
And is
a
that what it
year
means?
you
Deep in
can
the
usually
money?
go close to 2 years.
Okay.
So
And
for
what's
like
the
Apple,
longest
I
you can
think right
go?
now the longest. What's that?
What's the longest you can go on an option? Is it like 3 years, or what's the
It,
longest?
it varies from equity to equity. So like your SPY option chains will have longer dated options available, and like your it depends on the liquidity and the interest in the underlying.
Yeah. Anyways, if you
So
guys
like
are
the
following me, if you have option questions, you should obviously be following him and asking him because once again, I don't go into these complex, this complex, and it's really cool to have you come on here and talk about this stuff because once again, this stuff, I mean, I'm learning about it, but I just don't touch it because once again, for me, I want to be able to hold. I want to be able to hold for more than a year so I can avoid the short-term capital gains tax.
Yeah, I probably do everything backwards of the way that I should. Like, my long-term stuff is in my IRA, which there's no tax advantage to holding something like long-term in an IRA because you're already in a tax advantage account. And all of my actual, like, everything I do is short-term. At the end of the year when I get my stuff, everything is short-term. I don't do much stock at all, and the stock that I do is used as a hedge against an option position that has gone the wrong way.
Okay.
So like I protect myself in large, fast moves with stock when I have a position that's getting destroyed.
How did you educate
So I'll either
yourself?
buy or sell.
I'm
What's
just really
that?
impressed with your knowledge. I'm really impressed with your knowledge. Like, did you study this in college, or can you kind of go around your background? Like, how did you get into the market, and how did you pick up all this education?
I lost a lot of money.
This is what I tell everyone. But this is what I tell everyone because look, man, I dropped 120 grand on an MBA, and I didn't learn that much. So literally, blowing yourself up on some options trades, it might be a better education than an MBA, and it's tax
No,
deductible.
it's actually kind of funny because I didn't lose money on options. Like that's all I usually do. But when I first got into trading just through kind of like an employee stock option thing that was offered, and I bought some employee shares and everything, and that's what actually showed me the power of the market and the ability to make money just in that one position, which was too large of a position, and it was a dumb position to be in as
What
far as like
company,
all
if
of
you
your
don't mind?
assets. And it's traded under the ticker PWOD. It's a really
Okay.
tiny financial company. It's I think it's on the Russell.
Okay.
Um, but and they're actually not a bad company. If you like a dividend stock, they're a good dividend stock, and they have a solid like fundamental. Um, they're fundamentally they're a strong bank, um, but that's what got me into it. And then I started kind of looking around a little bit more, and I found a podcast that is what is it? Tyrone Jackson's The Wealthy Investor,
Okay.
and he teaches covered calls.
Okay.
And I listened to that, and then I did a whole bunch of stupid things. I went out and it was Ford, with my first position, because um, Ford was cheap, and that's what every new investor looks for, is a cheap stock that you can buy a decent amount of shares of. And I
Love
sold
Ford.
a ton of covered calls. And this was, that was a couple years ago, but Ford was like at its peak. It was a chart that was going up. So I'm like, hey, it's a chart that's going up. I'm going to buy a bunch of these shares, and I'm going to sell a bunch of calls. You can't lose. In my mind at the time, I was thinking, you can't lose. It's a win-win. I'm going to take in all this credit and premium selling calls against these shares, and I'm just going to keep the shares. And it dropped like a couple bucks. It was like I took a huge hit, and I'm thinking to myself, but that's what got me into it. And I went full margin. Like I put almost everything in Ford and sold a
Oh
ton of
my.
calls against it, which had I held the position, it would be profitable today, but just the opportunity cost of holding such a large position and tying up so much capital was so foolish. But looking back, that kind of got me into the door of options to see kind of what the possibilities were. But then I got to realizing how stupid I was and how much I didn't know. So I started looking for more stuff, and I did a lot of stuff on, like, looking on YouTube. And eventually it was actually on YouTube that I found Tasty Trade. And
Tasty Trade
Tasty
on YouTube.
just
Okay.
blew up my life.
Okay.
I
Tasty
mean,
Trade on
I
YouTube.
went down,
What about Meet
what's that?
Kevin? Have you heard of Meet Kevin on YouTube? Have you watched any of
Yeah,
his live streams? Okay, I like
I've
him
not
too.
done any of his live streams. I've watched a little
Okay.
bit of his stuff, but I've not, like, I spent probably over a year listening to about 8 hours of content a
Good
day
for
of
you.
Tasty, and
Nice.
just completely
Tasty Trade. Can I put this?
consuming.
I gotta put this in my YouTube. So Tasty Trade is his name. I've never even heard of him, so I'm gonna try to follow him.
Well,
Right?
Tasty Trade is a financial media company,
Okay.
and Tasty Works is the broker that they actually run. So they have their own brokerage firm as well.
Do they have a YouTube channel with content?
They, I believe, well, they have a lot of content on YouTube. So I imagine I don't know if they run their own channel or if it's just
Okay, so just put in Tasty
uh,
Works or Tasty Trade, and it should come up on
Tasty
YouTube.
Trade. Yeah, you'll find all
Okay.
kinds of stuff on there. Well, Tom Sosnoff is one of the developers of um, Thinkorswim, TD Ameritrade
Okay.
software. So he was one of the founders and developers of that software. He sold it to TD Ameritrade, and then he went off and did his own thing, which was this Tasty Trade, which is a financial media company. It's kind of entertainment slash education slash research and think tank stuff. And that's what they do, is they do research on options and past performance. They'll look back like 20 years on different strategies and then present them on a daily basis of this strategy, that strategy. Just, and it's just a, it's, if, if knowing what I know now, if I had to put a price tag on it, it's worth $20,000 for their
Nice.
content, and it's free online for
Nice.
anybody that wants it.
Well, hopefully you make more
Like,
TikToks about this because I'm gonna check it out and I'll make more TikToks. And then I just got a quick question because people are getting mad we're not answering questions. So this is a good question. I don't know. Why does the U.S. and Canada hate margin trading on CEX exchanges? Do you know what he's talking about? I don't know about this.
on CEX exchanges, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay. Sorry, can't help
I don't know
you.
what a CEX exchange is. Is that like a,
I don't know. I just got the question, so we'll just tell him give me more information. Um, and then, do you manage real estate in other states? Yeah, I do. But let's talk about stocks because you're more of a stock guy, correct? And I want to do some
yeah,
more research
I
on.
have rental properties, but I'm not many. I'm not real big into like rentals and stuff.
Okay. Where are your rental properties? What state are you in?
I have one down in Texas, and then I've got one up in the Northeast. I live up in the Northeast.
Nice, nice. And you prefer investing in stocks over real estate, or what got you into real estate?
Yeah, it's just a little bit more hands off. It's easier for me. Like
For
I
sure.
like the idea of investment properties. I'm really I'm really kind of like particular about like the tenants that go in. Like I'm super picky, and I've had really bad experiences with property management companies in the past. So I prefer to manage it myself, and just the time that's involved in it, in managing it yourself.
Yeah, so
So
for
like I
me,
actually go ahead.
because people are asking me, so for me, I have partners for my out of state real estate, so I don't manage it. Like so I live in California. I have a partner in Vegas, and they take care of the management. I have a partner in Texas. They took care of the management. And then the properties I manage are just in California. And my rule of thumb is the ones that I manage, I live 30 minutes away driving. So that's my rule. And I think Meet Kevin talks about that when it comes to real estate. If you are going to manage it, you want to be less than 30 minutes away driving.
You make more money on the ones you manage or the ones
Yeah,
that
and
other people
someone,
manage for you?
oh no, the ones I manage, I make more money because, yeah, no, 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 definitely. Because, yeah, yeah. But I mean, for not doing any work, and I made really good money in Texas and I made really good money in Vegas. So, like, unfortunately, with California, and Annie can probably agree with me, it's a lot more time consuming. So, even though I make a little more money, like, sacrificing my time is not as good. Now, someone's asking a question. I just searched Tasty Trade on YouTube. Is the logo a cherry? Is the logo a cherry for Tasty
Yes.
Trade?
Yep.
Okay, there you go. So hey, thank you for that because I'm always trying to find new YouTube content to educate myself. So I do appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. They do. They have a live, but it's like a TV show, and they just got bought by IG.
Wow, cool.
So yeah, they just did a deal with IG for like I think 3 billion or 4. I don't remember what it was. So they are growing, and they're going. They usually do. They do 8 hours of content a day currently. I think they're going to like 16, and they're
Wow.
starting to go international as well. So I think you're going to see more and more of them. I hope.
Okay. And so when do you normally do your content on like TikTok? Like what do you normally post on? Because you obviously have over 1,000 followers. So what kind of content do you do?
As far all of my stuff is, I do like a daily update of my portfolio. So I post my options portfolios for everybody to see. Um,
Do you go live so
I
people
don't
can
like the
ask you
fact,
questions? Do you go
yeah,
live?
I
You know?
mean, it's the way that I trade options is always from the short side. So there's not a lot of interest out there for people to learn to sell options. They view it as incredibly risky, especially selling them naked, and they don't understand the benefits and the
So when you sell
actual
them
real
naked,
risk involved.
when you sell them
What's that?
naked, you don't own the shares. You sell them without owning the
Correct.
shares. Oh man,
Correct.
you got to go down this rabbit hole. That's super risky. How did you get into this?
No, it's see that's the misconception that everybody thinks is that
Okay.
if you're selling them naked, you're taking theoretically unlimited risk.
Correct. Okay.
But the overwhelming majority of the time, the expected move, which is derived from the option pricing. So that's how market makers get the expected move is from the derivatives pricing. So the expected move, the majority of the time, historically overstates the realized move. Meaning,
Okay.
if you can sell option premium, which is effectively the expected move, you're capturing the overstatement of the expected move over time.
Nice. Okay. And so even in a bull market, you can do this and make decent money, even in, or is it easier to do it like in a bear market?
Well, you can sell both sides. So
I
like you don't have to just sell calls. If I'm going to take risk, I'm going to take risk in both directions. You can only lose to one unless I'm particularly biased on a particular, like a stock. If I'm bearish or bullish, I might only sell one side. But the stocks that I trade, I don't trade because of any type of fundamental um, bias in the stock. So I'm looking for options that have high liquidity. I'm looking for underlyings to trade that have high liquidity, that have um, an elevated IV. So like the measure of implied volatility in the stock is increasing and increasing, and its current IV in relation to historical IV is elevated. So
What's the IV
I'm looking
abbreviation?
for stocks.
IV is
What's
what?
that?
Can you, what's the
Is
what?
implied volatility. So
Okay,
the
you're implied.
expected move.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like in space is a good example that just kind of blew up.
Virgin
So the
Galactic.
IV
Yeah.
exploded in there because of the large move and because of the anticipation of a follow-on large move, and the perceived risk exploded the option premium. So it's a perfect opportunity to sell options in there.
Yeah. That's interesting. So you made
But
some moves on space.
people,
So can you
what's that?
kind of? So obviously space was like a month ago like a $15 stock, right? And then it went up all the way to like $40. So can you kind
Oh
of
yeah,
go
I know.
over?
I'm short space. space Space kicked my butt a little bit the other day. It actually wasn't that bad for being a third. When you sell premium, you don't want large moves. You want inside the expected move. So when you have a 40% up day like space had the other day, it's
It went down
painful.
though today. It went down
It
like
did go down in
10%.
today.
Yeah. So you made some
Yeah,
money
but the
today.
IV, if you look at the IV though, the IV hasn't started to come down in there because there's still an expectation of a move. So I won't actually start making money on that position until some of the excitement wears off, and hopefully the stock doesn't. I mean, with the IV as high as it was, you could sell the 70 and the 80, and even I sold some of the 100 calls. So I
Wow.
mean, the stock has to double for you to actually get to the point where you're taking on serious risk, and you're collecting a decent amount of premium to do that, and
How
you're
much
also
can
selling
you?
puts.
So it's for space to go to 100. How much like money do you make on that premium?
If space goes to 100, I lose money.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But if it doesn't go, how much money do you make? How much money do you make if
On
it
the
doesn't go to 100?
premium, I think I'm short. I'm short probably like $5,000 or $6,000 of premium
But okay, so how much money do you have to put up to risk to do this?
to risk it. It depends on how close to typical. Okay, I'll just speak in more general terms, because typically
You're definitely not a noob trader,
for
man. You're educating me, man. I'm learning so much from you. Your name is false advertisement. You're not a noob trader, my friend.
in space, the collateral requirements, I believe they were, as long as you were outside of a standard deviation, which is the 16 delta on both sides, and I think it was less than $1,000, and you were collecting probably $400 or $500
Wow,
for
that's
that.
really good on $1,000 bet.
The closer you get to the actual price of the stock, the more you collect, but the more capital is required to maintain the position. And it's
Wow.
not like a stock that once you buy a stock, you have static delta, meaning your delta is always going to be one delta for one share of stock. But when you sell an option, it's a dynamic delta, and it depends on the price of the stock and the volatility in the stock. So as if you sell a call, as the stock goes up, the delta in that call increases, which is not good if you sold it. So
So your
it's
$1,000.
constantly.
Let's do a hypothetical. So let's just say you put down $1,000. The contract will pay you $400. But if space hits $100, you lose your entire 1,000. Or how does that work?
No, if space hits 100 and your strike is 100, then you still made the whole 400, because it
If it
has
hits
to go
101,
past. If it
Oh,
hits
so if it goes to
101, you make
1,
300. It'd have to go past. If you collected $400, say 200 on the call and 200 on the put, you can only lose to one side.
okay.
So if it got to 104 at that point, you would start to lose $100 for every dollar beyond. So
Wow.
105, you'd
Okay.
be out $100. So 106, you'd be out 200, so on and so forth.
So if it hit 110,
But
you'd lose $1,000, right? Or you lose
so
500 bucks.
if it hit 114, you'd lose $1,000. But
Okay.
here's the thing: it's a living position. So
You can
as
sell
the
out of it.
stock is going up, you're buying your put back because it's worth less and less, and you're selling another put closer to the price of the stock and collecting more premium as the stock is moving up. It's called rolling up. So on your untested side, so you've got a put sold and you've got a call sold, that's a strangle. And as it moves up, you're collecting more premium every time you roll your put up at chasing the stock up. And you're
Wow.
reducing your risk and you're collecting more and more premium every roll.
Okay, I'm starting to get it, man. You're like the explanation is starting to make a lot more sense, but that's crazy. That is some crazy. Yeah,
But
people in my chat are
it
also
gets a
trying to.
bad rap just because people freak out
Well, they don't
when
understand it.
you say short.
Yeah.
Short anything. It's like, I don't know. I don't get it.
Well,
Like,
this is why I love
I think
TikTok,
what
man.
I do is so much less risky than buying stock.
What
When you
about
buy
Tesla?
stock,
Do you do this with Tesla? Do you do any of this kind
no,
of?
no,
Why not Tesla?
no. The capital requirements to put on one contract of Tesla is insane because of the volatility, the historical volatility in there. Brokerage firms want you to put up a ridiculous amount of capital to sell naked in there.
What are some good like naked shorts? What are company? What's your top five?
Well, I mean, my portfolio is posted. Like, you can see every stock that I have current positions. And right now,
The
Space is
five
elevated,
easiest.
Riot is
Go.
elevated,
Okay,
Fastly
Riot,
is
Space,
elevated.
Fastly. Okay.
AMC is kind of coming out of its elevation, so that
Okay.
position's almost over. They sucked a lot of the juice out of that. I sold Facebook the other day. That's getting IV pumped into it.
Nice.
Um, Roblox is another good one, very liquid. TTD, I think that's Trade Desk. That's another good one that just on the other day when it had its big up move, I think it was up like 20% last
Okay.
week, maybe. And it got premium juiced into it because of that. So I sold the Strangle in there. Beyond Meat's getting juiced.
Nice.
Um,
Man, I gotta have you come
so
on
it's
every
just
once in a
it's a
while and
constantly
talk.
change. What's that?
I just want you to come on. We got to do this more often, man. Just you, if you can give me your updates, I'll look at your content too and probably just share it myself. But I definitely want to talk about this more. I'm not gonna do this, man, but I love talking about it. And
I don't recommend you do it right off the bat. Like I truly believe that it is like one of the best ways to trade because you can choose your probability of success from the get go. So
okay,
like
so
when you enter a trade or when you buy stock, you have a 50-50 chance of making money.
so my audience wants to ask you some.
Theoretically.
So my audience wants to ask you some questions. They said, "Can you ask him any pharma stocks under $10 for puts and calls?" Do you have any pharma stocks you're watching?
I don't trade bio,
Okay.
like pharmaceuticals and biotech,
Why? Why? And then why do you specialize in
because
certain
of the
stocks?
insane volatility. Those are the stocks that have news and drop 50% in one day. And you're playing for inside moves. And that's one sector that will rip your head off if you're selling calls or,
Okay.
or selling puts.
So do you like tech then? Is tech like easier? It seems like tech is your forte.
Tech is easy and it's good because it's super liquid in general. Like
Okay.
there's a lot of interest there, and liquidity will really kill you in options if you're not trading in liquid underlyings. You'll have a really difficult time getting out of bad positions if there's no interest. So tech is usually good just because of the interest. I mean, but you can trade other things too. So like ETFs, you can trade ETFs if you want to get into something a little bit more stable. In fact, ARK and ARK G have been great for selling premium.
There you guys go. I love the ARC funds.
Yeah, strangles have really paid this year in those, and they've had really juicy premiums too because people are interested in them. For ETFs, typically you don't see the same type of liquidity that you do in stock. And a lot of the ETF markets are really wide and they're not good for option trading. But
So
ARC and ARCG are both good,
I'm gonna
and
get
like the
going,
SPYs and all.
but I want to ask you: do you normally go live in the mornings, or you go live at night? When are you
I just hit
usually?
1,000 followers. I've never been live before ever.
Oh, no way. Okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
just let me know if I usually go live in the mornings. If you see that I'm on live and you want to do another double live, I'd love to pick your mind and talk more. I'm definitely learning a lot and it's really, really interesting. And I'll check out the YouTube videos you recommended too.
Yeah,
But
next time we go on, you're gonna have to teach me actually how to trade like a real trader because the way that I
oh,
do it,
how to
nobody
do the
else trades.
margin? Well, check out Interactive Brokers. Have you used the platform Interactive Brokers yet?
I've never used it. I've heard a lot of good things about it, but I've only ever used TD. I've used Fidelity, Schwab,
Okay.
and Little Robin Hood and Tastyworks, but I've never used Interactive Broker.
Okay, yeah, check that out, and let's definitely catch up. And I would love to talk to you. You know, maybe once a week or whenever you're on and you're available. I feel like we can both learn a lot from each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I really appreciate it. Oh, I'm ignoring all the people in my live
Yeah,
stream chat.
give him some love. Okay, so I'm gonna leave. If anyone wants to jump on
All
his
right.
live stream, go for it. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you soon, man.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, Legacy Times. If you're still on, do you want to do a double live? I know that you're saying ARC G has the worst spreads in the market. She's gone, man. She's got wife and kids. The Goldman lady's gone. Yeah, Legacy, go ahead and go live. Let's talk a little bit. I literally got to go, but I'll do 10 minutes with you just to hear you out as well. But I'm trying to do as many double lives because I love just getting everyone's opinions and everyone's analysis on the market, you know? And I just don't want to be an echo chamber, you know? My goal is when I go live, we can do another time. No, let's just do one right now, man. No, okay, fine. How about this? Since you don't want to rush, I'll go 20 minutes if you're interesting, okay? If you're not interesting, you only get 10 minutes with me. But Annie's on a phone call anyway, so I don't have to go like right away. But yeah, go live. Let's do this. Don't be shy. Cocky. So to go live, yeah, no worries, bro. I'll teach you. It's not that hard. So go to when you're posting a content, you're gonna have to leave this live stream, and then when you go to post, there should be a little tab. It says live. So when you go to post your videos, when you hit the plus button, right above it should say live. You're gonna have to do both. You can't do the 9 to 5 job alone. You do the 9 to 5 job and you invest. And let me know when you go live. Yeah, and then you can invite me. There's an infinity sign at the bottom. You just click on it, and then you can invite me. But yeah, you're gonna have to leave this live stream. So we're gonna get Legacy Times on. The dream is free. The hustled is sold separately. Interesting. And then I am gonna go to bed because I like to go to bed early. Even though, what time is it for you guys? Everyone here in the live stream. It's 9 o'clock here in California. Yeah, Annie. What? I'm full.
Is your full?
I'm full. I just want fruit. Do you have more fruit, Annie?
Hmm?
Do you have more fruit?
Like what?
I don't know. Do you only have watermelon? Oh no, I'll have the pear. I like that. The
Yeah,
pear. You know
yeah.
that?
Peaches.
Can you push my headpiece? Do you think real estate is essential to the investment portfolio, or do you think I would diversify? So I don't think you should put all your money in real estate or stocks. Diversify. So I take a 1% loan. How much will they let me borrow? It's 75%, so probably $1,500. They'll give you $1,500, and you can go buy $1,500 of stable coins and make 9%. And you literally make 8% for doing nothing. You could use margin to buy a car, but it's smarter to use margin to buy a house. If you're going to use margin to buy something, buy a house, don't buy a car. What is taking our buddy so long to go live?
Mm.
Let me see. No one. Legacy Times. We're waiting for him to go live. East Coast. Did he figure it out? I don't think he figured it out. Oh man, Annie's getting sleepy. We might have to end this live stream, Annie. Annie, do you have advice for people on TikTok
About what?
about life?
About life?
Yeah, do you have some Chinese wisdom you can give to people? Or Chinese philosophy?
Money can solve most of the problem.
Money can solve most of the problem? I just told everyone. Yeah, exactly. But think about it. You're borrowing for probably less than $1. So you're making $9 for free. Yeah, man, but you can scale it too. Obviously, 8% on $1,000 is like whatever. By the way, Annie, for 4th of July, you want to go to Malibu?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so for 4th of July, we're going to
Oh, I
Malibu.
don't have class for this weekend.
You have or don't?
I don't have class.
Exactly, so we're going to go to Malibu for
Because
4th of
it's
July.
holiday, right?
Yeah, we're going to go to LA.
Yeah, I'm free this weekend.
Okay, cool. We're going to go to a couple parties. I'll live stream from Malibu. How do you recommend growing from 2K to 10K? Annie, how do you go from $2,000 of stocks to $10,000 of stocks?
By real estate or stock.
Let's say stock. How do you go from 2,000 stock to 10,000?
It takes time.
That's it? That's your advice? How do you recommend? You don't have any advice? What are good stocks? Like, what are some good stocks you can
Because
start out
like
with?
2K to 10K is like 5 times, right?
Yeah.
So you want your money become 5 times, and maybe you need to like wait for like 3 years.
Well, what if you just put in $100 like every month? Then it grows faster, right? If you keep saving money and investing.
Yeah, but it's still like have risky over there, you know.
Okay, but
It's everything now is not worth stable.
what if you put in the US dollar coin and you get 9%?
Yeah, but you only get a 9%.
So 9% is good. Why are you
Okay,
greedy?
9%. So so each year you get a 9%.
Mm-hmm.
That means like 2K become how much?
Yeah, but you also put in $100, so it's not just 9% because you go from 2,000 to 2,100, then you go to 2,200, and
Yeah,
remember
still
it
takes
compounds.
time, right? Still takes time.
It doesn't matter, but it's compounding at 9% because eventually you'll get to like $3,000 at 9%.
Yes, that's why I said it takes time.
Yeah, but how stressful was it achieving your first million through real estate? It wasn't easy, man. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Real estate's a lot. I feel like real estate's actually harder than stocks, but also I just made a lot of mistakes when I was young. Finally,
What's that?
yo, you figured it out.
Yeah, it took me a minute.
What's going
First
on?
time.
Yeah. By the way, if you want to change your background, oh, you're gonna just show your okay. If you use the magic wand, you can change your background to whatever you want. Like you see how I changed my background to a photo. So if you don't want to show your face and you want to just like use a background, you can
That's
do that
amazing.
too. You see the wand button
That
at
was
the
just me. That's
bottom?
about. How you been? Everything good?
Okay. Yeah, good, man. Let
Yeah.
me ask you some
That's
questions if
all.
you don't mind
Yeah.
to start out. So, how did you get
Yeah.
into investing? And and then also like what got you into the TikTok and like how did you grow your TikTok following?
Yeah. So I've been in this for almost from 2008. So it's almost 12, 13 years.
So
So
we
it's been a
started the same
while. I got
time.
in way.
I started the
Yeah, I
same
got
time
in
as
way
you.
before. Like, yeah, a while ago. And I'm usually not on TikTok. This is just like one of the Discord mods. I just hopped on here. It's kind of fun to get on TikTok and just see what people are up to. But usually I don't
But
get
you
on
have
here.
but you have 12,000 followers and
Yeah,
like you have
that's just the person. That's just one of my Discord moderators. He kind of runs this for the fun of it.
wait, you have a Discord moderator that's on TikTok?
Yeah, it's like just like the people who help me run the server. They kind of manage stuff.
Oh, he gave you his TikTok account? What did he post his TikToks about?
Yeah, it's just like random stocks. He used to post a lot of TikTok content, but I was like, I don't even know what he does. I just had access to it. I'm like, you know what? Might as well take advantage of it. Why not?
That's dope. Okay, that's really cool, man. So if we wanted to do a double live again, do you have access to this account, or you will use this
Yeah, I
account
mean,
in the
like
future?
you could even join the Discord. Like we're on Zoom, like literally from like 10 o'clock to market close. We're also here in the pre-market too, so you can always like
Okay.
hop in, ask anything. I'm literally here for like 3-4 hours a day,
Oh
just
wow.
trading, seeing what the market is up to.
Okay.
But
And
I thought I always see like a lot of people talking about because I'm mainly an options trader. I don't really
okay.
invest in stocks, shares individually. I
Mm-hmm.
do, but I found that there's more success and less risk if you can just invest in options. But what
Okay.
I basically do is it's a little bit different than the majority of the people. But basically, what you want to do is like you try to understand where the market is at a specific phase, and that kind of stuff is actually pretty simple. I know some people overcomplicate it. A lot of people they have this big problem where they're always too busy trying to call the market top, when in reality, a few of my mentors and people before me, and even myself, they say 80 to 90% of the time, if you just play to the upside, you're probably going to win. And with the options game, it's literally that simple. But you got people like even today, like you can see right now the flow of how many people continue to bet against the market as if like they're just too busy trying to call the top when you could slowly just make your money up, up and up and up until it doesn't work out. And if you manage your risk properly and everything is good, you really don't have to overcomplicate any sort of investment. But a lot of people like to take different routes in investing, and the stock market, it offers a lot of ways. I mean, you can do dividends, you can do indexes, and that's usually like the safest way of investing for people who don't really know too much about investing. But on top of that, like outside of those two types of investments, there's options, and that's literally where you kick up the investments. Like we're not talking about 5x leverage or 10, you're talking about 100x leverage while taking and minimizing the amount of risk you can put. But what people do is they leverage the risk, and then they leverage using options too, and then they get clapped. And that usually hurts because then people say, "Oh, options is gambling." Well, options isn't really gambling. It's kind of like gambling, but it's the way you treat it. If you minimize your risk from the start, you're not really gambling at any point. You're just minimizing your risk. Of course, the only difference is they're just moving at a leverage movement. So if you're usually trading, let's say you're a day trader and you trade with $1,000, well, you're getting 100x leverage. Instead of trading with $1,000, trade with $100 using 100x leverage. So in that way, you minimize the risk to the downside, and you get to flip something very quickly for 50%, but you also limited your downside as well. And if it doesn't work out, well, then you lost the 100% that you put into it. But that's just like a whole different story. But the thing that other dude was mentioning, which is the selling the premiums, that's actually not really the smartest way to do this. That only works if you, one, want to own the stocks, or two, want to sell the stock. And it's only safe if you actually have the capital. So I got a few people in our server who, some of them own 500 shares of Tesla, others own 1,000 shares of Tesla, other people own some Jumia stock, some Apple stock, all that. It's not as simple as people make it seem. It's simple in the concept, but if things backfire, you can get into deep, deep crap if you don't cut it early or if you don't have the capital to kind of back it up. So, an
Can you just
example,
put a stop
if you
loss? Can you get stop lossed out or no?
yeah, you can, but the problem is these are options. You can't trade them in after hours, and they can get exercised at any moment, especially if you're in the money. Some dude in the after hours can just exercise them and clap you. And even if
Wow.
you set a stop loss, like these can just go over your limit. If the spread is too large, you probably will never get filled. There's a lot of dangers to them, but a lot of people make it seem like they're simple. But in reality, it's like it's not that easy. I mean, I have
Yeah.
people here, this dude, he basically what he did is he owns almost 400 shares of Tesla. And all he did was this. And, I usually work with them every time. I'm like, you got to be very careful. The stock is bullish and you own the shares. You can't just be selling shares every time. You can't be selling the puts. But basically, here's how it works. If you sell a call, you think the stock is going to go down. And if you sell a put, you think the stock is going to go up. And all that happens is basically all the money. This is literally what Wall Street does. Wall Street doesn't buy calls and puts. Right? The people at the hedge funds and stuff, they don't do that because if you look at it, the probability of you winning is like 5 to 7%. But when you sell, you have a 90 to 80% chance of winning. And that's why people say, oh, it's less risky. Yeah, it looks less risky on the probability because Wall Street uses a few deviation channels to kind of know, how far will a stock go? What is it going to range within? And then their main objective is just to collect premiums in the same way that, people in crypto collect money from staking cryptos. They do the same thing here, but it doesn't really put you at risk. And the main thing this was mainly made for was literally for people who were investing in the market and had shares, but we're kind of tired of just dividends alone. Because if you think about it, the market is right now, what is it? It's yielding around 9 to 10%. People are not too happy with, 5 to 7% a year. So Wall Street kind of put this way out and they got into a little fight with the SEC. How about we give people another way to make more money on their dividends? And that's exactly what this was technically created for. But instead, they were like, how are we going to get this money? Well, you got to clap the retail trader. You got to take it from him. So we'll see who's willing to bid up the numbers, and I'll go ahead and sell you the right because that's all this is. It's just somebody selling somebody a contract saying you get to do this. And then you as a buyer, you have an option. Like you get to choose whether you want it or you don't. But what happens here is you go ahead and you sell something, you sell a call, you sell a put, whatever it is. And the danger of this is if it goes, the number here doesn't really matter until the stock gets near it. So if you say, let's say here, this 695, probably can't see it, it's a little dark, but it's let's say $700. If Tesla
Mhm.
gets to that price, you have two options.
Mhm.
If you're selling a call, you have to sell your shares at 700, but on top of that, you get to keep the money they gave you at the start, which is 650. If Tesla never gets there, you get to keep the 650 and you get to keep your shares, and that's it. What happens what if it gets there and you have the shares? Well, it goes to 750. You still have to sell your shares at 700. Even if it goes to 650 premium, you have to sell it to them for 700. It doesn't matter if it's at 800 or 900 or 1,000.
But
So
you're
that's the
technically not going
downside
to lose
risk.
money,
Now,
right?
let's say
Because
you never
you're just
had.
your upside's just
Well,
limited.
you
That's
lose
it,
on
right?
profits technically, right? You lose on profits.
Exactly. Your upside's just
Yeah.
limited, but
So
there's no
basically,
risk.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
yeah. The risk is basically not there. But here's the thing: the risk is when you don't own the shares. See, when you don't own the shares, it's unlimited risk. If Tesla skyrockets and you got to sell the shares, you got to buy them at whatever the market is there. So these can go into negative 1,000%. So you could possibly, if
Wow.
you sold this for 650 and you got to buy it back, you got 650. You got to buy it back for $6,000 if you got to buy the shares back. But
That's
you have
crazy.
two options: you either buy the shares or you buy the contract back, and that's the downside risk that a lot of people ignore, and they think that it's. And a dirty thing is, if you do it on volatile stocks, it's the only way that's worth it because there's something in the market they call it implied volatility right here. I don't know if you can see it, but implied
Okay.
volatility just basically think of it as like the measurement of gamblers in the market. It's just people who are speculating. They're wondering, is like, is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? The more this moves, there's more and more people wanting to kind of gamble on this. They're like, is it going to go up? And it's going pumping. Therefore, if you do the calculations, you try to find out what is the intrinsic value of this versus how much is it actually worth. You realize these are pumped by like 200% over the real price. So that's usually the best spot to sell calls, right? Because you get to make a lot of money. But the problem is you're trading a volatile stock that could literally drop 7% the next day or pump 10% the next day. So if things go south and you don't have the money, then you're clapped. There's no way. Like a lot of people who were selling this on, like, let's say STCE. So this thing, they had the new flight or whatever they got approved for. They pumped from $40 to 70.
Yep.
People who sold calls, the stock ended up coming down. Well, they went ahead and they made some money. If you sold the call, you got to make basically 90% of whatever you paid. So whatever they gave you at the start. So yesterday, you basically got 620, and then now it's worth 238. So you basically got the pocket full of bucks. If it didn't do that and it went back up, you probably would have been in the negative 200 or 400%. So now you got to pay to get your contract back. But honestly, the reality of this is that it's good if you have a perspective that you want to own, right? If you want to own the shares, then go for it. If you already own the shares, go for it. If you do it outside of that, all you're doing is basically locking up your capital. Because if you do naked shorting, or just basically you sell a call without owning, or you sell a put without wanting to own, all you do is you lock up your capital. So if I went ahead and let's say I say, okay, they're gonna be like, okay, we'll give you an expiration date by July 2nd. I'll pay you $170, and you gotta buy this at 45. If this goes to 30, you gotta buy it at 45. It doesn't matter. So you're still paying 1,500 over the price. Or you can go ahead and just take a loss on this right here if it never hits the premium. So you get to keep that money, and you just stay outside of the money. So it's really not the smartest way to do it.
What
Really
trading platform is this
idea.
that what platform are you using to show these? This is Robinhood. Okay, cool.
It's easier. Yeah, it's easy for people to see whenever you write this. But you could also use.
Do you recommend Robinhood?
But me personally, like from what happened?
Go ahead. What platforms? What platforms do you recommend to use? What are the easiest to teach yourself?
Yeah, so Robinhood is probably the most user friendly, you could say. And then if you want to kick it up a notch, but you don't want to pay too much fees, then probably Webull. Now the problem with Webull is they have they're a little bit more advanced, but they themselves got a lot of bugs in their charting and stuff, so sometimes it glitches out. But they have great scanners, screeners, all that stuff. So it's kind of a pretty useful thing. If you want to kick it up a notch even some more, you could go with TOS, Thinkorswim, TD Ameritrade. They have a pretty awesome platform. Like that thing is just on top. Yeah, so their only problem is that sometimes, like when all this meme stock problems start going, all of these start glitching and lagging. But they also have so much tools that you can use, and you get to put indicators, you get to write your own codes, you get to write your own scanners. Like it's a lot of tools. But if you don't want to get them because they do charge you, like it's like $1 and fit there's some fees for options, so you got to pay every time you buy and sell an option. And for like smaller guys, people are just coming into the market, and you got $200, probably not the best decision because every time you buy and sell, that's $4 already out of your pocket.
Yeah, that's not good.
What majority of people do is like they go to basic platforms just to execute orders, and then they sign up for something like TradingView, which those they cost they're free, but you can get a premium version type of setup, and then you can pay like $14 a month, but it's really not needed. But you get to use this like for charting. It's not really used for trading, but you could use it to chart out some stuff as well. But
have you used Interactive Brokers before?
If you're a new trader, you're probably just better off. No, I don't use it. I just use E-Trade and Thinkorswim. E-Trade is pretty cool too. Same thing, Tastyworks as well. They're all
Yeah,
pretty good platforms.
I'm gonna check out
There's no like,
Tastyworks.
oh, this platform is the best or this platform. It's all dependent on like what are you trying to do.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool,
that one they
cool.
have a little bit of a problem where it glitches sometimes. I know sometimes I got clapped. They made me lose a few grand because they executed an order I never really clicked on, but I
Oh
grabbed
man.
my stuff and dipped out of there. But TOS and also TOS great platform for the mobile app too. Like me personally, top app just because I rather chart on TradingView. I already pay 70 a month for this anyway, so it's kind of much better. But I use their mobile app is amazing. It's so simple. It's easy to track, easy to go through. You get to log in and out anytime. So it's really it's much easier to kind of get orders filled in and out, especially if you're on the go or you want to monitor it and something. But
Okay, well,
that would be the best. But I know a lot of people hate on Robinhood. You know.
yeah, the hate is real. All right, man. Well, I really appreciate your time. Hopefully, we can do this again. I would love to, talk more. I got to do some research on this myself. I've learned a lot from you, so I really appreciate your time. And let's do a double live again soon, if you don't mind. If you're back on, I would love to talk to you more.
Yeah, no problem. I can even send you the Zoom link with we'll
Yeah, yeah.
hop in
Message
right in the
me.
middle of the day whenever you wish. You
Yeah,
tell me.
yeah. If you don't mind, just message to me on, and we're friends. So just send me a DM on my TikTok, and if you like, I'll even message you my cell phone number if you want to text me the next time you want to do a double live.
Yeah, no problem. Like I said, it's not an easy thing. Like it takes a while to learn, but like you can
No,
just hop
no,
on
no.
and
But I
ask. They're
appreciate
both
you
like
coming
70 feet.
on and teaching people, because there's a lot of people that are interested, and this is some great content that we're creating. And by the way, I post all my double lives on my YouTube channel, so I'll definitely post this talk we had on my YouTube channel. So you'll be YouTube famous.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you soon. I appreciate your
No
time,
problem.
and good luck trading.
All right, you have a good one. No
You
problem.
too.